Cool. Awesome. Well, hey.
What
um,
up?
Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you taking the time out of your super busy schedule. And since we're live now, I just want to say hi to everybody who's watching. I'm here with AY Young. He is a fabulous musician, and I'm super excited to learn about him and his music. And this is our creative conversation series. So thanks for tuning in. So AY, what how I just want to know everything. So let's start with your background. Are you from Kansas City?
Yeah, born and raised from Kansas City,
Oh,
Missouri. Right off 39th Street, not that, Truce, Paseo,
yeah.
Highland, right there. I was homeschooled my whole life, homeschooled by my mom. So yeah, I'm Kansas City all the way.
Nice. Do you still live here or do you live somewhere?
Yeah. I mean to say I live anywhere is interesting, I mean, you're talking about even during this pandemic, still doing over 100 shows a year, but had been doing for 10, close to 10 years, 200 or more shows a year, you know. So, I mean, in the last 5 years, was it over 800 concerts powered by renewable energy? So I, 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 I am where I need to be to get the world plugged in.
Very cool. Good answer. um, so how did you get started with music? Was that something you loved
Yeah.
as a kid or
I mean, honestly, I started with music super late. I'll say this though, I did get started with the concept of hard work, being homeschooled, like being taught, I could do, whatever I set my mind to, and then playing basketball and learning about things like 10,000 hours, mastering, putting your time into stuff. So, when I did decide to do music, which was when I was like 19 or so, I dropped everything for it. I got on this X Factor TV show. I was on a TV show called X Factor in 2012, and that's really what started my career. And I got 4 yeses from the celebrity judges: Simon Cowell, L.A. Reid, Britney Spears, and that was like my start with music. You know.
cool. I didn't know that. That's awesome. That's really cool. So
Yeah.
did you get to meet them all?
Oh, of course. Those were like all my mentors. I learned a lot from Britney Spears. I learned a lot from Simon, man. Simon's good. A lot of people talk crap about Simon, but Simon says the real. He says Reed gives you real stuff.
That's awesome.
But I'll say this.
Yeah.
Since you're in Kansas City, I'll say that I did always write. And I used to write about what I saw. And back when I was a kid, off 39th Street, it was weird because it was like the divider line between the Bloods and the Crips. You know what I'm saying? And back then, truce was really bad, right?
Right.
And I would write about how you could be in the hood 1 minute, drive a couple of blocks, and there's a country club plaza, right? And it's super nice. Okay, dope. All right, you too. Hey, I got it done.
Nice.
Dope. I probably test more than anyone like you've ever met. Like I pretty much test every other day or so, every 3 days. Stupid.
Yeah. That's crazy. I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
And traveling.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's traveling a lot,
airport.
and it's meeting people. Like when I met the president, recently in Kansas City, right? I had a test, right? And when I met,
Mm,
when I meet these artists, or like, I'm with Team Billie Eilish, or I'm whatever, right? Like a lot of these people still want, you still gotta have a negative test, like recently. So
yeah.
it's just part of it.
Yeah. So what are you doing in Dubai?
In Dubai. Yeah. So I'm heading to Dubai. So I'm, and we can go through my whole story because it's like, okay, now we jump from when I started to like, oh shoot, now I'm already a young leader, but I'm one of the 17 United Nations young leaders, and of course I represent the youth of the United States. And Dubai has something called the Dubai Expo, you know, and there's like some water energy conferences. There's some conferences on poverty and different things, which happen to all fall under why I'm a young leader. I'm one of the 17 young leaders of the world, representing also these things called sustainable development goals. Like there's these 17 things that the United Nations and like all the countries and most of the corporations of the world are all getting behind, saying we have to do like these 17 things in the next like 15 years. And one of them is like everyone should have food, right? Like, dude, everyone should have food. That's goal 2. Like everyone should have water. That's like goal 6, I think, right? And then there's this goal 7, and that's kind of why I was picked, because it's called clean energy, you know, and I was using the battery tour as a way to get people access to energy, right? You know, every show. So that's why they picked me. And now that I'm making one song for each goal, which is, we'll talk about Project 17,
Mhm.
I'm going around the world performing, you know, this SDG, this sustainable kind of anthem music for these goals, you know?
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Um, so let's backtrack a little for people that don't know.
Let's
You
backtrack.
you've performed over, I think you said it earlier, over 800 concerts that are completely powered by solar energy. Is that
Yeah,
right?
100%. Yeah, yeah. And that started because, you know, I got out the X Factor TV show. I'm here in Kansas City. I wanted to say hey to the world, right? I wanted people to hear my music, right? And I would try to open up for big name artists or play at the Plaza Art Fair and Boulevard, you know, all these things that, you know, an artist wanted. And I would, you know, I would either never be responded back to, which most artists and musicians know what that is, right? You're emailing, they never hit you back. Or I
Yeah.
would get, you know, people, you know, maybe the agent or someone would say, well, how many followers do you have? You know, I'm like, well, I don't have, I mean, not a million followers, but I got good
Yeah.
music, right? Or how many tickets has your last tour sold out? It's like, none. I just got off a TV show. I haven't been on tour. I'm trying, that's why I'm doing, right? So that's when I was like, screw this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be like Ed Sheeran. I want to be like Andy Grammer. I mean, in life, I think we should do what we love to do every day,
Yeah.
right? What we're passionate about. And that's what grew this movement of being an outlet for change, you know, plugging into what you're passionate about. So I was like, screw this. I'm going to be like Ed Sheeran. These guys are doing shows all the time. You know,
Mhm.
it looks like Bruno Mars is doing what he loves to do. Why can't I? So then I was like, well, how do I power a freaking concert, you know, like anywhere, you know, like, hey, right? And, you know, that's when I found out, oh my God, I can store energy in batteries. And that's what I started to do. I started storing energy in batteries. I hit the Country Club Plaza, if you know where that is. You know,
Mhm.
Westport, a lot of times I would just set up and do these 8 to 10 hour shows, you know,
Wow.
and before I ended there, it's like people are like, oh my God, 8 to 10 hour shows. It's like, well, you know, if you work at McDonald's or Wendy's, you got to work a 4 hour shift. You can't just be
Right.
like, here's 30 minutes. That's my set. Peace out, McDonald's. They'll fire you. Huh? 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 So,
That's fair.
so,
Yeah.
right. So I was like, dude, I want this money to be a full-time job. So 8 to 10 hours, I would perform every day. And that's how the Battery Tour was born.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool. So you just like carry batteries around? Like, are they?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's had stages. You know, that was in
Okay.
2012, right? 10 years ago, things have changed. So first it was, you know, doing these just batteries, just a ton of batteries, you know,
Yeah.
and then about 4 or 5 years after that, after traveling, you know, I started to take tip money, donation money from the plaza in Kansas City. And I would go from city to city and state to state to go get the world plugged in, right? And then
Yeah.
there's the time I remember I was sleeping in my car and you know, because all the batteries in the back, and you know, I'm living in my car, and I was like Googling because I remember I was in some town in Kansas or Nebraska or somewhere, I don't know, and it's like they had like electricity issues, you know, it was
Mhm.
like something with grid, you know, electricity, and I remember I would drive through some towns and they don't have internet or there's no access to internet, which is insane. I'm like, this is America, what are you, right? And I do some Googling and I found out, wow, over 1 billion people in the world, you know, don't have energy,
Mm.
right? So that was the big switch where Battery Tour became this impact, you know, organization or impact model where I was like, okay, well, if there's 1 billion people that don't have energy, you know, and I know music's universal language, I need to build something to get the world plugged in, not just to my music, but now plugged in literally. So that's
Yeah.
what I did. You know, in some partnerships, I built this like, you know, solar powered battery box. And the concerts became a way to just raise money to send one person, one village access to energy, right? So it went from just a bunch of batteries to solar and batteries, and you know, so you know that's kind of how I really got started getting the world plugged in, and you know, since then we've gotten like over 17 countries access to energy, and like this is what I've been doing, right?
Wow. So you have a whole team. Like, how many people help you with this?
Well, I mean, now I have a team for
Yeah.
sure. And throughout the years, I've had volunteers, and still now we have like almost 30 volunteers right now that believe in sustainability, that care about the environment, that care about music, or they're just plugged into whatever they're passionate about, social
Hmm.
media, whatever. But that's always been the case. Like when I was more focused on just doing a concert every day, I was surrounded by musicians that love to play the drums, dancers that wanted to dance. It's an 8-hour show. So I'm not just performing my music, it would be a dance party, an open mic night, and a concert rolled into one. So, Battery Tour has always had a team and supporters because everyone in the world, whether you're a 55-year-old, CEO, or a kid in the class, a kid in grade school, or grandma, or whatever, we all have something we're passionate about. And that's always been the thread is, hey, everyone's an outlet. Like I remember when people would donate, because I was, it was maybe show number like 2 or 3, and I was performing, and I was like, I'm AY, and I'm looking back, and there's batteries. I'm like, and this is the Battery Tour, right? And that's how the name came. And then people would donate like, yo, bro, we love you. I love when you do Michael Jackson, or I love when you do that original song, Say Hey, or here, we're your outlets. We power the tour, right? And that's when I was like, oh my God, that was my eureka moment. I was like, wow, everyone in the world is an outlet and plugged into each other on the local community, on the national, level. We can all power change. We can all, take an action. And so, to me, it's like, do you have supporters? It's like everywhere I go, there's another outlet. Samsung's being an outlet right now. So many nonprofits have been, so many individuals are outlet. I mean, it's incredible, right? Eddie Griffin's been an outlet now, joining Project 17. I mean, everyone has something that they're passionate about, and I'm blessed to use these 17 like sustainable goals as framework. Like when I sat down with Tech Nine to hop on Project 17, it's like, who would have known that Tech Nine is so passionate about poverty? I didn't know that. I'm like, bro, I mean, I don't think your fan base knows that you really care about getting people out of poverty. And so he's an outlet.
So is he part of Project 17 as well with you?
Yeah, I'm super happy, cool. To have the #1 independent artist in the world plugging in as, and using his voice for goal 1, which is no poverty, man. I mean, it's super dope. But at the end of the day, that's what the project is. Whether you're an activist, you're an influencer on social media, on TikTok, whether you're an artist, whether you're Billie Eilish or you're Tech Nine or you're Lady Gaga, it's like, what do you care about? And that's what makes this project, in the sense of this upcoming album that I'm doing, so special, because if it's gender equality that you care about, well, that's goal number 5, which is why right now I'm kind of trying to work on that song to be maybe Lady Gaga, Lil Nas X, Dolly Parton. Those are people that care about gender equality, or women empowerment, right? So, I mean, it's hard to say who isn't your supporter, right? Because it's like, well, what do you care about?
Yeah, that's awesome. So the album that you're doing has it's gonna have 17 songs, 1 for each goal. Is that the sustainable development goals?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm like enthralled in. I mean, after becoming young leader, man, that's a whole story. I can't even tell you the story of how I became a young leader. Most people are like, well, how do you do that?
Yeah, I was gonna ask. So
well, I'll answer that, and then we can go to Project 17, because that brings us to the future. So yeah, so I do, so remember I said X Factor TV show, found out people were outlets, started traveling America, found out, oh my God, people don't have energy, built something, started getting them plugged in, right? So fast forward to about a year ago, because I've been young leader for a year, I've done, over 800 concerts, close to 900, gotten energy access to over 17 countries. So I just got back from Honduras, and we were getting villages like plugged in, that didn't have electricity, and doing concerts in villages that don't have venues. It was amazing, right? Wow. Taking music to places where kids had never even had it, right? Like there is no tour stop in some village in a random place in like Africa or like you know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
So yeah, I came back, and yeah, man, I came back to Kansas City and nothing happened. I guess I was expecting like some rich guy to be like, oh my God, you're helping save the world. Here's $1 million. Keep doing it. Or Battery Tour powered by like Tesla, right? Or Energizer. Like it never. And so instead of like, complaining, I was like, maybe I'm doing something wrong. I plugged into the entrepreneurial resources. I graduated from the Kaufman Fast Track in Kansas City. Arts KC, won a grant there, a couple of things, right? And then I ended up going to this thing called Climate Week in New York, and I met this dude named Al Gore, and this was like the 3rd eureka moment of my life. Like I shook his, I know Al Gore, right? I shook his hand. I was like, right? I was like, what's up, bro? Yeah, he's cool though. but he was talking. He has this massive stage. Like, I mean, the stage looked like the like, you know, like the Sprint Center, Verizon, you know, that, you know, T-Mobile, right? I think it's T-Mobile now, right? This huge, massive stage. And I was like, bro, you should be powered by a battery tour tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Because in my mind, I go, well, why are all these people talking about saving the world and sustainability while they're technically destroying it?
Right.
Right? Because it was powered by fossil fuels. So, you know, that was the start. And then, you know, I'm at this thing Climate Week. And so all, you know, what I did was like, well, you know, I saw Greta Thunberg, there's a girl named Greta Thunberg, you know?
Yep.
And everybody's like, oh my God, you know, she's coming to America on a boat. Do you remember that? It's like, on a boat. This is great. You know, and so I was like, okay, I gotta see what this girl's about. It's dope. I don't know what the heck. So I went, you know what I'm saying? I saw her talking. I looked behind her and there's a diesel generator powering her. And I was like, oh my gosh. So that's why I was like, screw this, dude. So I started hitting up these nonprofits and charities that are now, a lot of these are my partners. Oceanic Global, you know, Reverb, Earth X, all these different incredible organizations. And I started saying, hey man, you know, Project Drawdown, you know, that's how I met Paul Hawkins. Like, hey, if you're going to talk about saving the world, then you might as well do it powered by renewable energy. So let me power it, you know? And so next thing I know, I wound up in the UN. I was showcasing the battery tour. That's why you see me in one of those videos dancing in the UN. And I met Paul Hawkins, writer of Project Drawdown, probably my biggest mentor. He nominated me, you know, when he's one of the people that nominated me to be a young leader. I remember I got the call. I didn't even really know what it was. I saw that it was like over out of 18,000 nominations in 190 some countries. I'm like, well, heck, that's never gonna happen. What, like, what, you know?
Yeah.
But I remember I got the call from the UN, like, you're a young leader and you're only one from the US, and that's when my life really changed a year ago.
That's crazy. And during a pandemic too. I mean, like, that's insane.
Yeah, I know. And I got selected like right before the pandemic like was real public. Because like they were like organizing the General Assembly and like, hey, all the young leaders are gonna come with the president and everyone, right? You go in the UN, you know, they swear you in kind of thing. So the whole thing. And I just then that virus hit and we moved it to like a virtual kind of award ceremony. It just wasn't the same, you know, but hey, that's the class I came into, right? Those are the cards I was dealt.
Yeah, that's what it is. I love it.
Yeah.
So sorry, I'm just looking at my notes.
Cool.
So you are part of the UN. Do you want to go back to Project 17? Do you have anything else, a break, like?
Yeah. So yeah, I'll break it down again. I mean, Project 17 is super simple. So once I became, you know, one of the 17 young leaders of the world and blah, 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 I got on the call with the Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, and Amina Mohammed. These are like the presidents, right, at the UN, right? And then they're telling me about these 17 goals. And I'm like, yo, I had no idea. Like they were like, oh, well, you know, hey, well, you're goal 7 because you were getting the world plugged in, you know, and it's like, oh, and you're also goal 13, climate action, you know what I'm saying? And because I was doing a concert, but it was like carbon neutral, it was like wasn't hurting the world, so I was helping, you know, and I didn't even know. And I think it's funny too because when I was looking at the goals, it's like, oh my God, everyone talks about sustainability and global warming and all this stuff. When you look at the goals, that's just one goal. It's 13. There's a bigger set of issues, right? So I remember them saying, oh, and this used to be called the Millennial Goals 20 years ago. And in my mind, I'm thinking, why haven't we achieved this in 20 years, right? And then I was like asking people like, hey, do you know what the gender equality goal is? You know, like, do you know what and no one knows, but you know, if I ask them, I would ask them, well, what's Justin Bieber's new girlfriend? They know.
Right.
Right? Or when Kim Kardashian posts a picture, it breaks the internet. I mean, we're talking about it at dinner time. So that's so I looked at the 17 goals and said, this is how you do it. We're going to do one song for each goal, but each song with a major artist, right? Plugged into what they care about, right? You know, and then we're going to have 17 companies or corporations, right? Because we need the money from the corporate, you know, the corporations, the sponsorship money to get in the studio, to get Paul McCartney in the studio, to pay for the mixing and the mastering when Billie Eilish sings what she's passionate, right? And so 17 songs, 17 corporations. And then I'm all about impact. You know, I was all about making a song and getting someone plugged in, X, Y, right? So the same concept Battery Tours always had is, okay, I need 17 impact partners. You know, those are nonprofits that do the work, that get people food, that get people water, right? So the music can be used to financially and attention-wise empower the impact partner to do what they do. So, right, 17 companies, 17 impact partners, 17 are, right, Project 17. And that's what I'm doing, right? So, and so far it's been beautiful because, you know, we have 2 of the 17 records, you know, done. You know, actually one of them, I can't say too much, but something just landed on season 2 of Zac Efron's. You'll see it in April. Zac Efron's Down to Earth. But yeah, I'm super happy. To have 2 of the first of the 17, and you know, we've been pulling in a lot of corporate support recently and artist support. Now everything's just growing, right? I mean, 17.
Yeah. So do you want to talk about some trips you've taken recently? Because I know you're going to Dubai today. So Saudi Arabia, what did you do there?
Yeah, Saudi was dope. You know, Saudi's changed. You know, like, did you know that 5 years ago women could not drive?
Really?
Yeah, like you couldn't drive. Like, it wasn't legal for you to drive in Saudi as a woman.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how rapidly Saudi social media is making that whole Middle East change, because now women can drive. Now there's no rule. There used to be a rule that I think it's called the Hadid, where they had to wear this, like, you know, now they can choose. Like, women have the right to choose, right? Like, women have the rights they should have always had. It's drastically changing everything. So yeah, I mean, I went to Riyadh, and you know, I've been on the Battery Tour, you know, so like after launching Project 17, you know, the vision of it, you know, started working with the Head and the Heart, made the song for Goal 17, which I aim to add Paul McCartney on, maybe Miley Cyrus. Of course, we got Goal 1, you know, with the one and only Tech Nine, you know, got a lot of things going on. So I've been hitting the ground running, performing these records, rallying people together, plugging in new partners every day, new potential sponsors in the goal, right? And so I've been, you know, went to Milan in Italy and launched Project 17 in Milan and Rome, which was amazing. 50,000 people headlined the concert. It was incredible. We did the World Food Forum, where I previewed the food song for production and food anthem, you know. And then, of course, yeah, man, Saudi was great too. It was all about bringing everyone together. It's about bringing all of Saudi together to, you know, tackle these issues of poverty, and, you know, and it was just amazing to see people come together, singing, dancing, when that wasn't really accepted even, you know, a year ago. So these trips have been crazy. But, you know, what I'm learning is no matter what language people are speaking or what they look like as far as their skin color, like, everybody's the same. No matter how much money, you know, I mean, uniquely different, but how much, you know, the same, right? We're all humans. That's what I'm learning, is like, dude, I'm speaking with the CEOs and the marketing directors of Coca-Cola and Samsung and this company, and oh, this is the CEO of this company and that, and just what you just really discover is, one, music's the universal language. We all love music, whether it's you don't like this artist, but you love this one, right? And then the other thing is, like, we are really all humans. Like, we all bleed red, and we all have passions and wants and needs, and it just really shows me, man, you know, we can really come together too if we want to tackle something.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. Sorry. So many questions. I don't even know what to ask.
You can ask whatever you want, girl. You know, we can talk about you, how your day's going, whatever you want.
I love it. Well, actually, you've answered most of these questions.
Yeah, I'll find a way to indirectly answer stuff that you never even asked.
Talked about who you're working with. I mean, you're just like name dropping. That's insane. Oh, I love it. Do you have like a studio that you, like a one studio that you go and make your music, or do you just kind of, are you everywhere, like working with different people? Like, how does that?
Yeah, I'm definitely huge on collaboration. I think collaboration is key, you know, like, in order to achieve anything. So definitely collaborating with ton of different people and stuff. But you know, a lot of these ideas and all my music in general, I have a lot of music that's out right now. You know, I just actually released my new album, Hello Again, too. So there's like this trilogy called Hello Again. So if anyone's listening, it's like this dude's an artist. Let me hear what his music sounds like. Like, go check it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, the song I did for the inauguration for Biden is out there right now called Save the Planet, right? Like you can hear my music. I made all that stuff and I'm even making all of 17, you know, just in my crib at my home, you know. You know, I did build a solar trailer now. So instead of just having the boxes, we upgraded to like this 10 kilowatt solar trailer
Oh
system.
my gosh.
And yeah, I know it's nuts. You have to see it. I tested it out at North Kansas City High School in Kansas City, and there was like 3,000 kids, and we did it on the football field. And yeah, I was just shocked because I was like, wow, we just did an entire football field and powered it 100% by renewable energy.
Wow.
Right, with 3,000. So one thing that I'm doing with Project 17, the songs for that specific album is, you know, all of the production and stuff, I'm just doing it out, you know, outside the trailer, like with the trailer, you know, or with one of my boxes, you know. So as long as it's powered by renewable energy, like the sessions that I'm running and stuff, as far as in this creation process, then I'm kind of fitting the goal that I laid out, you know, because I wanted to show the music industry, which is completely ran off of fossil fuels. Like if you want to make a song as an artist, whether you're Nelly or whoever, you go into a studio that's, you know, tied to the grid and you make the record.
Right.
And so with 17, I just wanted to make sure that every song on there at the end of this thing, I can say, yeah, well, it was powered by renewable energy, you know? So
Yeah.
if that makes sense, my studio technically is anywhere, you know,
Yeah.
because if I'm traveling with the trailer or any of my boxes, I always just roll out the studio wherever, you know.
Cool. That's good to know because because you know, I got the whole concerts powered by solar energy, but it's cool to know that everything is powered by renewable energy. Your music,
Oh
the
yeah,
creation
you were
process,
talking about the battery to
like
it, girl. Okay.
everything. So that's cool that you're putting into practice what you
Yeah, I mean, you got to show people what's possible, right?
yeah.
Like that's the thing is no one knew, and it's funny because all of a sudden now people are saying, "Oh, AY," you know, even this conversation we're having now would have never happened. I don't think 5, 8 years ago. But now all of a
Right.
sudden people go, "Oh, AY, you're a renewable artist.
Yeah.
What? You're a sustainable musician." That's never in 2012 when I was on the Country Club Plaza doing 8-hour shows. Heck, let's take 2015, 3 years after. I mean, I made the cover of the Ink magazine at some point, but yet still no one gravitated toward what I was doing until like 2019, when all of a sudden, you know, Instagram got all these girls, you know, posting yoga pictures and eating healthy. I
Yep.
saw someone getting cussed out online for using a straw at some point.
Yeah.
I was like, what's happening?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden I'm hearing sustainable this and sustainable that. And then I just became popular. But
What
it's
a
good. It's cool.
crazy.
I'm happy.
Good. Good. Yeah, you get to travel and see the world and oh, I have a question. Oh, cool. Okay.
Totally.
I'm monitoring our conversation on Facebook. So this person says they love hearing how you develop your ideas. They first saw you at First Fridays in Kansas City and then Drawdown at
Oh, someone
Johnson
knows.
County. Yeah. So they asked, aside from Kansas City, what are some of your most inspiring places to perform? And then the second question is, how do you distinguish between deep change versus corporate greenwashing, which you've kind of talked a
Yeah,
little bit about.
I got an answer for both, and that's really good. I love the corporate one. So my favorite place to perform, of course, I love the people, but I would say my favorite, I'll say even style, or my favorite experience or experiences, honestly have came not from a venue, because by the way, I've opened for Wiz Khalifa. I played with Shaggy, T-Pain, Aaron Carter, now recently Bob Weir from the Grateful Dead, Michael Franti. You know, I've done the stages, you know, and I've done the street corner.
Mhm.
And there's just something about being in a developing nation, almost close to a second world, thirdish world country, a place where you may have to walk 5 miles just to get water. Like I mean, I did those walks with some of the women in the village, and I only did it like once or twice, and I was like, I can't believe they have to do this. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing like bringing a concert, to youth and kids and stuff, and just the expression on their face, the feeling of emotion when they kind of experience music for the very first time in their life.
Yeah.
There's just nothing like it. And so I would definitely say my favorite experiences in performing for music is doing it in places that have never experienced it. And there's really over 1 billion people that, probably have it. And those are, so I'll say that. Second thing is, she said the greenwashing thing. That's a wonderful question. So here's the thing that I'm doing with Battery Tour, Friday 17, and I've been doing my whole life, that they saw me do on the Plaza and in First Fridays, right? And I know she remembers it when you go, or him, when you remember this at First Fridays, you remember that it was all people, all ages, all demographics, all races. That was the beautiful thing about what we do, all facets of humanity. I believe that everyone in the world is an outlet for change, not just people, individuals. I'm talking individuals, corporations, nonprofits, artists, influencers. We're all outlets, and we can, and with my project will do, if you're going to be a part of it, at least two things. One thing is, of course, you're going to power and support change however you can. And the second thing is, you're going to take an action, period. That's what an outlet does. They take an action, they power and support change. Whether you're Samsung, and the way that you power or support change is by sponsoring the track, so Billie Eilish can get in the studio, right? We can clear the record, pay for the mixing, right? Maybe that's how you power the tour. Now, what action you take, well, that's up to you, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe you do this, maybe you do it, right? There's a lot of actions you can take. Same thing with, say, let's just take Billie Eilish, for example. She's a great artist, right? So she can power the tour by what? Using her voice, her passion. She can plug into the goals she cares about the most, climate action, right? So but what action can she take? Well, shoot, maybe her next tour has no plastic water bottles. I have no idea. What can Eddie Griffin do? Well, Eddie Griffin's a comedian, he's an actor, so maybe he powers the tour by just saying, hey, followers, do this. Or he makes a little short film because he's a hell of an actor and a great comedian. That's how he powers change. Second thing is, what action are you going to take? Eddie Griffin, I don't know, but he would know, right? So as far as Project 17 is concerned, no one's a part of it unless you do those two things.
Right.
And I don't know what those two things are to you. I mean, I would love to ask you, just to yourself, how would you power and support change? Maybe that's your podcast right here. That's maybe having someone like me on your podcast. And then the second thing is, what action you're going to take? Maybe after this conversation, the action is sharing more information about sustainability, buying a solar charger versus, I don't know. But that's what an outlet is, and those are the only people that I'm working with. No matter who you are, there is an action that you're taking, and you're powering and supporting change.
Got it. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's the only questions we have.
Dope.
Cool. So, okay, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I think so you're going to Dubai today. Are you performing one of your songs in Dubai? Is that where you're going? Or
yeah, and I'll be there. I'll be at the Dubai Expo. You can Google it. It's like a really big world event. I mean, everyone goes there. I mean, I saw Thor. The guy that plays Thor. I think his name's Chris Hemsworth. He's on the commercials. He's been there. And speaking of the devil, in this is Zac Efron being on that show coming up. He's on a commercial for Dubai. So yeah, I'll be there in Dubai, and there's like multiple performances, and of course the UN has got me in a lot of different rooms doing the different things. Stuff is adding every day, but I will be doing what I always do, right? Is bringing this message of everyone being an outlet, getting people plugged into Project 17, doing songs like We Can Change the World and Save the Planet, and records like Say Hey, my songs, right? And it'll be just another launch of Project 17 and what I'm doing. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I look forward to following your songs as they come out. I've been on Spotify kind of like listening and watching.
Yeah, listen to the music, girl. Go watch the music videos. Like, That's how you can help me. Like, I make music for impact. That's ultimately what I do. Is like, my music impacts things. You know, it gives people access to energy. It impacts the environment. Like, so if people want to know how do you support it, what I mean, find a way, share my music. I'm an independent artist. What that means is I don't have a record label, which is great. I'm not, you know, like, if you bought my music, 99% of that dollar is not going to the label.
Right.
It's going to my organization, these volunteers, these initiatives, you know. So I'm an independent artist, and that also does mean that I don't have, like, you know, a $200,000 marketing budget, because that's what the label provides. So, you know, individuals like you sharing something, getting your friends plugged in, literally, is all I could ask for.
Yeah. Well, I will let you get on your way to Dubai.
We
But
out right now.
thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. And it's been awesome learning about you and your cool initiatives. So good luck with everything. And
Dope.
yeah, we'll probably,
We're gonna get Kansas City completely plugged in. All right. Thank you so much.
I
You have a
love
good
it.
one. Peace out.
Thank you. Bye.